name is Daniel. I grew up on Long Island and went to a Jewish religious, though co-ed, middle school. This picture, by the way, is from my time in the Miami Boys Choir, which is a name some of you may know from its moment of TikTok fame last year. In 7th grade, my English teacher gave an assignment to the class to write a short story about anything we wanted. My influences at the time were the Harry Potter books, shows and movies like Dawson's Creek and American Pie, which I didn't actually watch, but occupied a place in my imagination. Video games like Tomb Raider, and I had a car obsession, all of which comes across in the story. It's about a 5-way high school love triangle, or pentagon, I guess. And so I have a diagram to help everyone keep track of who's who in the story, which I'll show later. My mom came across a printout of my paper a few days before it was due, and got only halfway down the first page before she forbade me from handing it in, concerned it would get me kicked out of my religious middle school. I submitted it anyway, and now I present to you, 23 years later, my story, slightly trimmed for tonight's event. It's called Rich. Excuse me. Mike Sable, the handsome, caring captain of both the chess and hockey team, and Randy, or Ran, Hoffman's boyfriend, did not seem to notice Lara Falk gazing at him from the soda machine where she was trying to punch out her lost dollar. Mike didn't usually hang out with Lara, but she was once in Randy's main clique, and she and Mike usually said hi when they bumped into each other in the halls. Walking to her next class, she was thinking of how loving Mike must be toward Ran, as opposed to her own boyfriend, Jay Lance, who wasn't so romantic and almost never had enough time to devote to her. Jay was captain of the basketball team, which his life revolved around. He liked to have fun, but Lara didn't think her relationship with him had improved much since they started going out. There was a joke that went around most of the boys about Elantra Sabaro. A blonde, stylish, and strikingly pretty girl, she liked to make herself attractive and known to plenty of boys. If a guy went out with her, it was only for one or maybe two reasons. I don't know what that means. And 5 minutes later, she'd be seen with someone else. When boys passed her in the halls, they'd yell out, "Hey, Elantra, how about 9 o'clock tomorrow?" "How about 9 o'clock tomorrow night?" And when she replied, "I'm booked, sorry," both parties walked away laughing. Jay was with Elantra 5 times before he started going out with Lara. Passing by Elantra in the back of the cafeteria, Jay halted at the sight of a hurt and saddened look on her usually glowing face, like, as his English teacher would say, a wilted rose in spring. The sight of Jay put a warmer look on her face. "Hey, Elantra, you okay?" "Yeah, just, never mind. You want to go outside?" Elantra threw herself down on the grass against the concrete wall, crying. Jay sat down next to her, thinking, either something is very wrong or this is just a very biologically sensitive time for her. I'm sorry. He was starting to think of some way to cheer her up when he heard a familiar voice yell out from the direction of the school building, "Elantra!" Ran came running over to the two of them. They both got up, Elantra having no sign of tears on her face. Ran said to Jay, "Elantra and I need to talk." So Jay headed back into the building to play basketball. That night, it became clear to Jay what that little episode had been about. Elantra had called over Mike Sable to tell him that she was in love with him, even though she knew he was going out with Ran, and it wasn't normal for Elantra, who once went out with 2 boys at once, 3 nights in a row, to be seriously in love with anyone. At this point, this might make things a little... Jay drove his red Acura TL over to Lara's the next morning, a Thursday, as he had done every day since they started dating. This morning, neither of them spoke much, although they were thinking along similar lines. Jay was never really in love with Lara the way he knew other people to be in love. On the contrary, their relationship was created by peer pressure and still existed for pure pleasure. A little bit of wordplay. From most of his friends who were already going out. He'd had several girlfriends before, most recently only months before he started with Lara. He'd also been with Elantra 5 times in the past. But now he really loved her. His love went beyond her hotness and sex appeal to the real her. He didn't know exactly what drew him so suddenly to Elantra, and he didn't know exactly why he remained Lara's boyfriend for 2 months if he didn't love her. Her nice but not amazing. Her nice but not amazing body couldn't have had anything to do with it. I'm very sorry. She was the kind of sweet, caring girl you could always count on, but she didn't exactly match his personality. Elantra seemed to be the perfect one. Elantra Sabaro was a very unpredictable girl. Maybe she asked out Mike to improve her reputation by association, and she said she was in love with him to really get to him, or she could have been dared to or something by her compulsively wild and also coquettish friends. Thesaurus came. Thesauruses are good. If, however, she really was in love with Mike, despite the fact that he already said no, Jay's chances of getting with her were slim. Elantra was not known to back off from getting what she wants. Lara was actually planning on asking Mike out, steady relationship with Rand aside, if not for Elantra already asking and being answered by the word that defies hopes and dreams and tells us to face reality: no. Lara was in love with Mike, along with the 2, if not more, girls in her grade, and she would only love him more as the days passed. Having Jay as her boyfriend now was a burden. It wasn't fair for either of them. 2 minutes from school, Jay and Lara turned to each other simultaneously. "Jay, Lara," they said together. Both of them smiled. "You go first," said Jay. Jay, I know this might not be the best time to talk about this, but I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know if we're really the right people for each other." "Yeah, I know. I mean, whatever. We'll still be friends, but maybe we should just move on," Jay said while pulling up his car in front of the school. "All right, well, see you," Lara smiled and waved goodbye while stepping out of the car. Her smile faded halfway to the school building when she noticed Mike and Rand making out behind a tree in the corner of the building outside. Lara turned around and yelled back to Jay, "Jay, what were you going to tell me in the car?" Jay looked semi-surprised. I forgot. It was nothing important, though." Elantra was very bright and could have gotten high grades if she wanted to. This could have been done 2 ways, using her brain or her body. It gets better. In addition to having influence over guys her own age, she also had her way with the teachers, especially the male ones. People who knew of her little talk with Mike thought nothing of it, like it was a common everyday thing for her. She walked down the halls on Thursday morning during her free period, which she chose because it was Mike's also and not Rand's, wearing fashionable clothes and self-confidence, flashing her hair and neck to a boy she partied with 2 weeks ago. Underneath the stairway, next to the side entrance to the school, which led from the first floor to the second, there was a closet that had a lock. That's where Elantra waited for Mike to come down to the first floor from the second floor. And less than 30 seconds later, she was right. When Mike got to the bottom, she jumped out from behind him. "Hey, Mike, Elantra, come here." She took him into the empty closet and locked the door behind. "Listen, I'm not playing around now. I know you're with Rand, but just listen." She cornered him on the wall with her arms around his shoulders and the lights dimmed. She slowly, I don't know how the lights dimmed, but they did. She slowly whispered, "I love you," in his ear, and she moved to kissing him. She was halfway unzipping her shirt when there was a knock on the closet door. Hello, came the Puerto Rican voice of a confused gentleman. I might be most sorry for that. He obviously didn't have the key. Listen, said Mike, pushing her back a little. I'm not going out with Rand because she's captain of the volleyball team. I love her, and she's a great girl. Even if you love me, I'm not in love with you. I hope you change your mind, she said. She unzipped her shirt all the way, revealing what was under. Excuse me, he said, heading for the door. She stepped out of his way and watched him leave, a smile spreading on her face. By now, news of Laura's breakup with Jay had spread. This news caused delight among the girls, who were more than willing to take over Laura's position as his girlfriend. Jay, though, was not interested in anybody but Elantra. He spotted her in the halls near the bathroom. Hey, Elantra, can I talk to you? She came over. Jay, I heard you broke up with Laura. Yeah, but I want to tell you why. Well, if it's private, I think we should go somewhere a little more private. Come here. Jay, come here, Jay said, taking her to an empty classroom. This might sound crazy, but Elantra, I'm in love with you. Really, she said, taking his hands? That's so sweet. I mean, he continued, I know we were with each other before, but now I really love you, and it's not all about the sex. You sure? She said, stepping closer to him. I have to go now, but I'll think about what you said, she told him while stepping out of the room. Lara spent that same period talking to her two best friends about her feelings towards Mike. Her friends were Samantha, who was wanted by many boys, but too involved in her schoolwork to bother with Karen. and Karen, who loved to party and have fun, but was also who was also very bright and could be trusted by anyone more than anybody else Lara knew. They both agreed Lara should immediately tell Mike how she feels. Meanwhile, Jay was walking to his locker with a couple of guys, discussing their impending victory over Lawrence High School in the basketball game. And Jay saw Elantra leaving the library, so he told his friends he had to go and ran to talk to her. Hi, Jay, she said, turning around smiling. I canceled my plans for tonight, so if you want to come over at about 10, I'll be waiting there for you. And don't burden yourself with too much clothing. You won't be needing it in the jacuzzi. Elantra, it's not like before. I was just kidding. Well, see you after the game. And she headed for the steps when she almost bumped into Lara on the other side. Hey, Lara, I heard you broke up with Jay, she said in a sorrowful voice. Lara had a mixed expression of shock and anger on her face. Yeah, I did. Actually, I was just on my way to see Mike in the gym, and I couldn't help overhearing your conversation with Jay. Jay loves me. Maybe that's why he broke up with you. Yeah, maybe. Hey, what's this gonna be? The third time you invite him to your house just so he can see if you live up to your reputation? Lara's face reddened. 6, said Elantra proudly. Anyway, what do you want with Mike? I love him. Not because of how big his dick is. You can shut up now. If he was a little less caring, he would laugh in your face. That's what he must do after any slut would walk up to him and say she's in love with him. Shut up, bitch. And Elantra pushed Lara backwards into the big window on the second floor that overlooked the yard. And Lara made a swing back at her head. Excuse me, ladies, yelled the principal, running forward. Both girls immediately stopped and turned around in surprise. Lara scowled and walked away, cursing. Do you mind please telling me what that was all about? The principal asked Elantra. Nothing, she smiled. Sorry. What both girls neglected to notice was Rand staring out the library door window with a look of pure shock. Elantra went to fix her hair and put on makeup in the bathroom. In truth, Elantra really was in love with Mike, but nobody would believe her. In love or not, though, she still wanted to keep up her reputation and seemed to have trouble expressing her love anyway but sexually. Yeah. That night, everyone went to the basketball game. Elantra had done an exceptional job of cheerleading, and Jay had played an exceptional game, scoring 32 points, leading the team to victory in overtime. Much to Lara's annoyance, Rand hardly left Mike's side the entire game, and they soon disappeared after. Both their parents were away early for Memorial Day weekend, and so were Mike's siblings, so they agreed on a sleepover at his house for the next 5 days. It's a very adult relationship. It was 10 o'clock. They had just finished their homework and were sitting together on his couch, about to watch Mission Impossible 2. When Lara called, Mike picked up his phone. "Hello," he answered. "Hi, Mike. This is Lara." "Hey, Lara, what's up?" Rand looked up and moved in closer to listen. "Hey, I'm just calling to tell you why I broke up with Jay. I know this might, whatever, but I just had to let you know that I'm in love with you." Mike looked at Rand, who was trying to stifle her laughter. "Lara, I don't know if it's such a great time to talk about this." He looked toward Rand and she buried her face in the pillow. "I'll see you in school, okay?" "Okay, bye. Bye." Mike hung up the phone and threw it on the couch. Rand burst out laughing. "It's not funny," he said, tickling her. Hey, I wouldn't be laughing if everyone started professing their love for you. You know you would be," and she kissed him. The next day at school, rumor had it that when Jay had gone to Elantra's house the night before, she welcomed him wearing nothing but a towel and took him straight into the shower. Elantra also told Jay that night that Lara loved Mike, so that meant everybody in this 5-way love hexagon knew who loved whom, except Jay, who never suspected Elantra to really be in love with Mike. I hope you guys are.
Totally using it. Totally.
Today was the Friday before Memorial Day, and everybody in school gets psyched up for the weekend, waiting for the parties, movies, and bonfires on the beach. Jay was Elantra's a fun place to live. Jay was Elantra's top choice among guys she would spend the weekend with after Mike, whom she never had a chance with, yet. And Jay had really fallen for her. Lara was intent on stopping us. Lara approached Jay in the halls near the gym. "Hi, Jay, you're with Elantra now?" "Yeah," he raised an eyebrow. "You probably had a good time last night. Better than you've ever had with me." Elantra really does like to make a name for herself, but she seemed really serious when she told me she's still in love with Mike. That's great. I know you hate her, but I love her. What makes you think she really loves him? Well, how do you know she really loves you? She doesn't. How do you know I care? He shot back. You must have had a really good time last night. Don't overwork her. Why this sounds like a porno. I don't know, she really seemed to enjoy herself. Jay started swaying his basketball around. Lara then noticed Karen heading toward her from the hall. Karen, her friend. She turned to look back at Jay, but he had already headed into the gym. Jay finished a quick but intense game of basketball, grabbed a slice of pizza at the food counter, ate it, and headed toward the library when Rand caught up to him and pulled him over. "Rand, what are you doing? Shut up, follow me." She brought him into a large room used for drama class where Mike, Lara, Elantra, and surprisingly Karen were all waiting in the room with different expressions on each of their faces. "All right," Karen announced officially, Everybody, please sit down. What the hell is going on? Demanded Jay. Just listen, said Karen. Rand, please explain. Rand got up. Mike and I love each other, and we've been going out since last year. Plus, we were with each other a long time before that. Lara and Jay recently broke up because Jay is supposedly in love with Elantra, and Lara is in love with my boyfriend. Elantra, who has played every boy she's ever seen since she was 6 years old. Now claims she's in love with Mike. It's well known she never did it with Mike, and of course she must know what he's like. At this point, Mike and Jay both looked toward Elantra, whose expression read, "You bitch." And Lara would have been laughing if this whole thing didn't involve her. Elantra defiantly stood up and shouted, "I love Mike." Mike got up and equally shouted, "She tried to hit on me in a closet." Elantra then threw her arms around his neck and started kissing him, pushing him closer to her and backwards at the same time. Rand, Jay, and Lara immediately got up with their mouths hanging open in shock. Elantra raised her body up a little bit, for a split second putting Mike's head in position with her neck. Rand jumped to pull Elantra away from him, but Lara thought along different lines. As Elantra started making out with Mike, he backed into the wall, banging his head, and Lara ran to help him. Mike, however, just stared at Elantra and ran, beating each other up. Lara now wondered where Jay was and looked to where he was standing, but he wasn't there. Instead, she found him flirting on the other side of the room with Karen. Lara couldn't take this. She slipped out of the drama room, past Mike and Rand, now heavily making out with each other in the corner. Jay putting his arms around Karen, whose face was glowing, and Elantra fixing herself in front of a mirror. For a second, the two girls made eye contact before the door closed shut between them. Defeat was in Elantra's eyes. Just then the bell rang. Lara headed to class, smiling. She couldn't wait to sit next to Rich Olero. Rich was a great guy. He had moved from England to Los Angeles and now to Woodmere. And she was sure he didn't have a girlfriend. Rich was good-looking and had a slight cute English accent. Plus, he was funny, fun, and seemed perfect for her. Lara rushed to class. She didn't know why, but she had a feeling that she'll be having a better day from this point onward. And they all lived happily ever after. As I was writing this story, I'd show the latest sections I'd written to some of the girls in my class who were really eager to find out what happened next. So the attention was definitely welcome. I guess my English teacher liked it too, because I did not get kicked out of my religious middle school. Rather, she gave me an A. And aside from a few grammatical touch-ups, she didn't give me much other feedback on the paper at all. So, Miss Fiedler, if you're out there, I don't know what ran through your head as you read this, but I dedicate tonight's reading to you. And believe it or not, everybody, I did not go on to write for the CW, or the channel formerly known as the WB. But writing's always been important to me, and though my day job is in the environmental renewable energy sector, shout out, I also perform poetry here and there around town, and you can find me on the socials at Mucho Gusto. Thank you, everyone.